Good evening, viewers, and welcome again to Discovering Truth. And I'm Pastor Forbes from Abiding Word Ministries, the Gateway. I'm grateful to God that we are now in the second half of the year 2017, and it's usually the half that we now have to run faster than the first half, because we should have by now fine-tuned a lot of the things that concern our forward-moving as individuals, families, of course, as a business, and ultimately the nation of the Gambia. And anybody listening, by now you should have found what you're doing. But if that is not the case, I want to dedicate just this month, hopefully over the next 4 episodes of Discovering Truth, to talk about how this whole thing can work for us. So my broader title is How to Make the Journey to Your Destination. How do I move from point A to point B? Or what are the best practices for traveling properly? Not just traveling, but traveling properly, effectively, efficiently, and getting to your destination and nodding your head that you have made it. And so this journey that we are embarking upon, a personal journey, a family journey, as I said, it could be an enterprise, company, business, school, institution, religious organization, and of course, the new Gambia, as we call it, the journey of the new Gambia. When you travel, or when you want to embark upon a journey, we have reached a stage in life that there are so many things that help us. A lot of us are familiar with Uber, the taxi service that you can call and do a few things, and a cab would come and pick you from where you reside and drop you where you are getting off. And up to at least, I think, last month, you just get off because you have paid online. Now I believe they're trying to put something where you must now tip, or you can tip the driver. But I think for a lot of us who use Uber, that was one of the things that made us like it, because sometimes drivers don't seem to have change, or don't want to give you change, or dilly-dally because of something. But in Uber, you had paid everything and you just get on and get off. Of course, there's also something called Lyft, L-Y-F-T, or calling cabs, taxi cabs, or your own car's GPS, your TomTom, or if you're in the UK, they used to have MapQuest. You can print it and it can tell you how to get from point A to point B. There are apps that are like Waze, W-A-Z-E, that can even tell you how you can divert from here to here to beat the traffic. There are some that even tell you there are police lights, traffic lights ahead, and secret cameras and all that. Those who go to the UK and other countries of the world, US, you have the tube map for the UK, or the New York subway map, the train times, and of course if you fly, there are flight schedules that because of them you can organize your trip with possibly the most direct non-stop flight, because I understand in aviation language, direct doesn't mean non-stop. Direct means you're going from one point to another, but non-stop means you're going there without stopping anywhere. And so what about the layover period? You have all these tools that aid us in our quest to leave from point A to point B. And if we don't have them, at best, we will struggle, because these have all been worked out so well to help us effectively and efficiently get to where we are going. But there are a couple of things that make them work. Number one is that you must know where you are, your takeoff point, and number two, you must know where you want to go to. Lyft or Uber cannot charge you. Even when you call a calling service, a taxi service, they can't charge you without knowing your destination, because your point of origin to your point of destination, they will calculate distance, the time of the day, traffic. Some very good drivers know where all the traffic lights are, so they'll take alternative routes, sometimes to even save you. Some know where the toll bridges are, and because sometimes there's a little altercation between the passenger and the driver as to who pays the toll. And so if they want to go around the Brooklyn Bridge or one of those toll gates, then they do that. But all that happens because you or me that desires to move from where I am for whatsoever reason must be able to give them where I am, my house or my point of origin or my pickup point, and tell them where I am going to. That way your flight route, your flight ticket, the train time, the taxi, and everything else can work. So I want to look over the 4 weeks at about 8 issues, 8 very crucial components for this journey to be successfully done. And I have myself in mind. I have you watching me in mind wherever you're watching from. I have young students, friends who have just graduated from grade 12. I have that graduate who has just graduated from university. I have the newlyweds. I have parents whose nest is now empty because all the kids have gone to college. I have that retiree in mind. And of course, we can extemporize it. But ultimately, I have the new Gambia, as we call it, in mind. Our country, our nation, my country that I am so proud of, the Gambia. And so what are these 8 things? I'll run through them, and then we might be able to deal with 1 or 2, and then we'll just continue till the end of July by the grace of God. The first one is you yourself, is me. I cannot determine a journey if I am absent. I need to be there. I need to have a sense of who I am, where I am going to, why I want to get there, and other things. So you are important in this equation. The second thing, of course, is that you must have a plan. You must have a plan. We all know this saying that he or she that fails to plan, by failing to plan, has already planned to fail. Because without a plan, without some kind of a structure, how can you tell success or failure? How can I know that I am approaching my destination if I don't know that this destination is planned for 5 hours along that route and this and that? Number 3 is that you cannot make a journey without a vehicle. You need a mode of transportation. How am I going to get there? If I'm walking, then I better have exercised and be ready to use my legs. If I'm taking a motorbike, a bicycle, even if somebody is carrying me with a wheelbarrow, or if somebody is, like we say in Gambian Wolof language, bambaneng me, if somebody is carrying me on their back, it's a vehicle. If it's my own car, if it's a taxi, if it's a destination by sea, by road, or by air, I need a vehicle. So if I am in the picture and I have a plan and I have chosen my vehicle, my mode of transportation, then I need directions. And that's why we talked about GPS and all that. You need directions. I mean, I don't need to tell you, if you live in the Gambia and let's say you are at a place we call Westfield Junction, named after a hospital in that area, a medical clinic. If you are at Westfield Junction and you say you want to go to the capital, Banjul, which is 8 miles from Westfield, which is in Serekunda, but you face the direction of Brikama, which is 14 miles north towards the airport, after the airport, you won't get to Banjul. Every step from Westfield is taking you further away from the capital. Now, as you all will know, it is irrespective of your sincerity, your passion, your fervor, your zeal, and your determination. If your direction is wrong, it's wrong because there is a proven cause. There is a proven map, direction from Westfield to Brikama, as well as Westfield to Banjul. So direction has to sometimes be passionless and emotionless. That's why there is a phrase sometimes you hear people say, well, she is so sincere, and these people are so sincere. And somebody says, yes, but they are sincerely wrong. Because sincerity and passion are not the same as being right. You can be very sincere in how you answer the question in an exam, but you were wrong. And the outcomes will be such that they don't grade your sincerity, they grade your rightness. So here am I. I'm the person with a plan, with a vehicle, and with directions. But no car, plane, ship, boat, ferry can move without fuel. So I need fuel. This car needs fuel. This vehicle needs what propels its tappets and its pistons for it to move. What moves it from inertia and brings on board the first and I think third laws of Newton into action for it to move from inertia into motion. It needs something that propels it, that catapults it, that catalyzes its action, that gives it a thrust to move. It needs fuel. Now, the people in any industry, particularly the aviation industry and cars, will tell you, especially the aviation, because, even cars, sometimes if you take a taxi cab, especially in Africa, in some places, you'll find that it's after all the passengers have paid, then the taxi driver tends to remove the amount with which he's going to buy the fuel. Then he pays the apprentices or somebody who helped him to get the passengers, and then he drives. When he drives off, a lot of people think we've really started in earnest. Then he makes a detour to a filling station, a petrol station, a gas station, and then he buys gas in his mind commensurate to the duration of the journey, hopefully taking on board so many things that could happen that could make him detour in the route or the route. So it is also with the planes. When they come before they take off, theirs is even more critical, because I am told that they have to calculate the weight, the tonnage of luggage, cargo and all that, and then the passenger weight, the total weight of the aluminum metal itself, do some kind of calculations, and they can know how much fuel, possibly tailwind, headwind, and all that comes into the equation. I don't know, but I'm pretty sure things like that happen. And they can tell that with this amount of passengers, with this luggage, with this cargo, with the weight of this plane, we need X amount of fuel to fly from here direct to London Gatwick, or from here to Freetown, or wherever they're going to. Because if, for example, the flight is from here to Dakar, which to all intents and purposes is about 25 to 30 minutes on maybe Brussels Airlines. If, let's say, the fuel they need is, let's say, 100 gallons, Jet A1, it will be straight for them to fill the tank with 2,000, because it's weight. So the ability to lift is also an issue. Sometimes you notice when planes are landing, depending on where they are and what is at stake, sometimes they have to jettison fuel. So there's me that wants to travel, and we said after me, I must have a plan, and with the plan, I must choose my best optimum mode of transportation, and we'll flesh this all out, because best is not always safest. We'll look at that. And then I must have directions. And then I must have fuel. And then there must be, number 6, a deliberate, decisive speed and pace that will get me there in one piece. In other words, recklessness is not part of a good journey. It's not best practice for a good journey. Impetuousness or impulsiveness in making decisions is not best practice to get from point A to point B. And then number 7 is what I call the unknowns. There could be a detour. There could be roadworks. There could be anything happening that slows down your journey. A couple of us maybe have been on flights where the flight had to make an emergency landing because maybe somebody had a heart attack, or there was an alarm of some sort, terrorism or something, or the place they were going to land, there were issues there, the runway had a problem, or maybe there was an unfortunate situation militarily, and they have to detour. At that point, they have to look for the nearest airfield, runway, airport, nation that they can land, and the fuel must be able to take them there. In other words, ladies and gentlemen, traveling from point A to point B is more complex than just the desire and the idea of getting up and moving. So back to number one, you, me. I am assuming that we know where we are going to. We know where we want to go to. I know where I want to go to. I am assuming that I am properly packaged, level-headed, of a sound mind and body, and I am not just on a frivolous journey of wasting resources and just having a jolly good ride, because I'm really not a child. That my journeys are calculated, my journeys are predetermined to have an impact, a positive end, to add towards the totality of the fulfillment of my purpose on this earth as I use God's breath given to me on lease, which I will have to answer for when I expire on this side of eternity, as you would also have to do. So it means that I should be organized. It means that my life should not be a life that so many people have an input to that I don't even recognize myself. Somebody says, go left, and I make a left, and somebody says, no, it's right, and somebody says, no, stop, go backwards, come forwards, put a raincoat, no, take the raincoat off, put a shower cap, don't put a shower cap, it's morning, and when I think it's morning, I say good morning, somebody says, no, it's nighttime. No, I must be comported, I must be poised, I must be cool, calm, collected, I must be organized. And ladies and gentlemen, the best way I can do that, because I know that I cannot tell everything about life just by my five senses, is to lay my life, my plan, my will before God. And God did that in an awesome, unique way when he asked Jesus Christ to be my replacement for my sins, and gave me a substitution, and now I can live a purposeful life, which is not just a Forbes reality, but it can be your personal reality. Because with Jesus in my life, the GPS and everything is intact. So it's you. It's a decision you must make. You want to move forward. You want to do that. Sometimes you meet people and they say, I want to buy a house. I want to go to college. I want to buy a car. I want to learn to play an instrument. I want you to mentor me. But everything about them tells you that they are not even interested. Okay, have you checked houses? Where do you want a house? I don't know. Anywhere is good. What kind of an answer is that? So you want me to mentor you? On what do you want me to mentor you? Anything. You can't do that. Because the road of anything leads to anywhere, which is nothing. And so I must possess myself. Possess myself. Govern under God, be organized in my life. And that goes for us all. That way I can tell when somebody is telling me something, whether they are tricking me. That way I can tell when somebody is asking me to sign something, whether I'm mortgaging my future, my children's future, maybe even my nation's future. I must be organized. And ladies and gentlemen, it is said that when you understand 50% of the problem, 50% has been solved. So for example, if I wanted to buy a car, buy a house, or do something, if I research, if I ask questions, if I download, if I open a folder and print, or a folder online, and scan and save, and I come to you and I say, please, I want to do this, this is what I've done. It means there's some sort of organization, I have zeroed in into maybe SUVs or into family cars, into sedans or trucks. That means I have shielded myself from many other things which might be legitimate for other people, but are not primary to my purpose. So I need to be organized. I need to be level-headed. Secondly, I need a plan. I think a lot of husbands, especially if you're a husband that goes shopping with your wife, which is a very honorable thing to do. It's not being macho. It's just lovely and nice. And you shop together. Most husbands will tell you, sometimes you see your wife making a list. Now, the list in her mind is twofold, or should be at least twofold. One is the items she wants to buy, and two, the places she wants to buy them from. And any smart person, male or female, married or unmarried, whoever you are, will know that if, for example, you are taking off from, let's say, the traffic lights and you are heading towards Senegambia. Now, if my memory serves me right, for those of us who live here, if you drive after maybe 200, 300, 400 meters, you'll come across one supermarket on the left called Pick and Save. And then you move forward, there'll be a mini mart at Elton. And you move a little bit further, you'll probably hit, what will you hit? Maroons. After Maroons, you'll hit Kairaba, now called My Supermarket. And then you'll hit Right Choice. And then you move further, you'll meet, I think, Expressway. And then the Senegambia, and then Chalarams. And you go down and all the way to Al Vihag. And you go down all the way to that wonderful bakery at Brusubi. And if you turn around, you can be going to Right Choice. So wouldn't it be strange that if you took off from the traffic light and you went all the way to Al Vihag by Brusubi to buy something, and then you drove all the way back to Pick and Save to buy something, then you suddenly remember you had to go to Westfield to buy something. Will you buy them? Yes. Is that a proper plan? No. Because if you had planned yourself, you would have probably thought, okay, maybe let me start at Westfield and then take the Serakunda Highway, get into Sukuta, and then buy the things from Alvihag, come down to Pick and Save, and end up at the traffic lights. So with a plan, you are able to do it properly. Without a plan, you'll be going up and down, and you'll probably find a husband that's not happy. Having said that, I'm sure most husbands can also say that you're not going to win when it comes to clothing shopping, especially in malls. You go to the mall maybe with your wife and she looks at something and she says, this is nice. And you say, let's pick it. She says no. And then she goes to another place and she says, this one is nice. And another place, but let's go back to that first place. Let me check it again. And, you know, that's all the joys of shopping that only women can enjoy. And I remember I was being naughty last year somewhere in New York, and I took a photograph of a man who was really sulking. You could see it from his body language. He was upset. He had his hand on his chin. He was upset, and he was sitting by this changing room. Now, how did I snap him? I was also sitting there. And when he turned to look at me, I said to him, sir, I understand. You know, so only women understand that. But that's just for a side attraction. But for each one of us, we need a plan. If not, you'll drive up and down in life. And that's why I'm saying for even effectiveness, you know, you want to clear a container from a port. You have to pick this document and go there and get this to be typed and go there and do this one. And sometimes you appear to be running up and down, excuse my language, like a headless chicken, because you have not been told that let it do or maybe the offices are not done in such a way that you leave 1 for 2 and 2 for 3, but you leave 1 to 6, 6 to 2, 2 to 3, then it's break time, and 3 to 5, then it's prayer time. And it's like a journey, and a transaction that can take maybe 90 minutes takes 2 days. So how do I get to point B with a disorganized plan? And that's why we said that there are aids to proper planning that have helped us. Let me touch number 3 and I'll stop there. And that was the vehicle. So I am assuming that I'm organized. I am level-headed, know what I want, rational thinking person. I've done all my homework, my research, taken counseling, and I've decided that this is what I want to do. And this is the plan of how. Then what about the vehicle? What kind of vehicle? Because whenever we think of vehicle, there are 5 things in my mind. Number 1 is speed. Number 2 is reliability. Number 3 is functionality. And number 4 is longevity. And I think the most important in terms of vehicle is the weight. Why load your vehicle with unnecessary weight? You will get to your destination, but if it was going to be 3 hours, because of unnecessary excess weight, you will take a longer time. The vehicle will struggle. You'll burn more fuel because you were carrying things that were not yours. Let me end with this, and this happens to my wife and I all the time, because when you travel, a lot of people rely upon you. You bring things for people's children, school fees and medication and so many things. And, people just have this thing, Pastor Forbes, I can trust you. I know you won't say no. And we just have a small package, and the small package is never small. And so have you noticed that most times when you finally make it home, after paying excess and all that, when you've finished distributing everybody else's gift, what is yours in that case is very small. That was really what you were carrying. But most times in life, we carry other people's things, other people's agenda, other people's program. That is why one of my most favorite scriptures in the Bible is a book called Songs of Solomon. It's 2 books after the book Proverbs, Psalms, Proverbs, Ecclesiastes, Songs of Solomon. The first chapter, I think verse 1 or 6, it goes like this. They made me the keeper of other people's vineyard, yet I have not kept my own. In other words, I'm not focused on my own. I have excess luggage, overweight. That's why in swimming, in athletics, in even beach volleyball, you find that the attire that the athletes wear is ergonomically done so that air just passes through it. It's like for weightlessness. And so much as you need a vehicle that's fast, is it reliable? Is it functional? Will it take you there? My time is up. I'd like us to stop from here. I have 4 more to go. But on the ultimate, I'm thinking of our country. Do we have a plan? Do we have the vehicle? Do we have directions? Are we ready with the fuel? Have we taken the unknowns? If we put all that together, we'll get from point A to point B and have a story to tell. Until I come your way next week by the special grace of God, this is Pastor Forbes saying, have a good evening. God bless us all, and good night.